Hi, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of A Dash of .NET. For someone who has been following this show, you know that in this series of show, we talk about Azure, which is very closely binded with C Sharp. So in today's episode, we get a blend of both C Sharp and Azure, and to talk about both these topics, we are joined by the rock star Jonah Andersson. She lives in Sweden. She's a very good friend of mine. She's a Microsoft MVP, she's a .NET developer, and she's a complete rock star. If you don't follow her on Twitter and LinkedIn until now, you should definitely go ahead and connect with her. And I just cannot wait to bring her in. So let's do it. Hi, Jonah, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Stephen, Simon, for
I
I'm
know my
sorry.
name's confusing.
I know. I call you Simon. I call you Stephen. But
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here in your show, A Dash of .NET, and I truly appreciate being here on this episode. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for accepting the invitation, Jonah. And for some of those who don't know, I had the opportunity to meet Jonah for the very first time last year in October. We had a very good time. We had few drinks here and there. I was so happy to meet finally in person. And she has a really great story on how she got to here, her entire journey. So, Jonah, I did give a brief introduction about you, but why don't you tell our audience who you are, what you do, and more importantly, how you moved from Philippines, right, to where you are now, and yeah, how the journey has been.
Yes, that's a great question, and it can be like a long book of story if I were to tell all my life
Cut
story
it
to you.
short,
But
cut it short.
I can do a short like overview at least. So
Mhm.
first of all, it was great meeting you finally at the experts live in
Yeah.
Europe in Prague. So it was already like we've been collaborating for a while in the community, and it was great to see the faces behind the collaboration. So that was awesome. And for those that don't know me or haven't followed me yet, so I'm Jonah Andersson. I live in Sweden, and I work-wise or career-wise. Currently, I work as a senior Azure consultant at Solidify. It is an IT consulting company in Sweden. And then outside work, I am actually very active in the community as a speaker, speaking in conferences and events everywhere. Microsoft MVP for Azure. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer, so I teach Azure certifications. And then I also I'm active in my spare time, especially during weekends, leading Azure User Group Sweden, in which CSharpCorner and C Sharp TV is also a collaborative partner in the community. And also, I want to inspire tech stories of women in tech. So I co host Extend Women in Tech podcast that I do once a month and do some recording of the podcast here and there. But to answer back the question, I am originally from the Philippines. I'm a proud Swedish, at the same time, proud Filipino from the Philippines. And my journey started it's a long story, but I moved in Sweden 2011, learned the language, started my career as an IT consultant after all my experience also in the Philippines. And aside from what I do as an IT consultant, as a .NET developer, Azure developer, DevOps engineer, whatever you call it for Azure consultant role, I am very passionate about the community. That's how I also met Stephen or Simon.
That's a lot that you do for the community. If someone doesn't follow you, and for those who actually follow you, you can see so the amount of community engagement that you do. And I was looking at one of your recent posts where you said that you have been to what 17 or 15 in-person conferences this past year. What was that?
Yes, it was correct. I haven't had a chance to do a recap of the year, but it was
Hmm.
actually that the total of in-person conferences, not counting the online hosting
Yeah.
events and podcasting I do on Azure User Group Sweden and the podcast. But it was a lot of traveling, and I've been to
Yeah.
almost like 10 new countries this year.
Wow.
So
Why?
that includes Prague, actually. So as a speaker or international speaker, you get to have this privilege and opportunity to meet the community from different parts of the world. So that's a truly inspiring. And aside from that, I also switched jobs this
Mm-hmm.
last year. So I quit my previous consulting job, and then I switched to Solidify, which is a better environment or better workplace for me. They
Mm-hmm.
also have like three other MVPs there, so you can imagine a
Wow.
company with four MVPs, developer
You're a
technologies and
gang now.
yeah, you feel like you belong to something with awesome people that really values community and knowledge sharing, and I'm really enjoying my time at Solidify. I've only been here like 6 months at the
Yeah,
company.
no, no, I can see, Jonah. You have built a very good connection in the community. Everyone knows you, right? And having said that, when I say everyone knows you, everyone also knows that you have recently published a new book, and that is
Yes,
Learning Microsoft Azure. I'm so excited. Why don't you tell
uh,
us? Yeah, there it is. Okay.
there
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
Oh, it's a Glancy right now. It's like
Yeah,
Riley. They really make like fancy covers
I
with
love it,
the animals. So the book is called "Learning Microsoft Azure: Cloud
Mm-hmm.
Computing and Development Fundamentals," and it is written by me with contributions from the community, and then forward by our friends in tech, also that probably you know as well,
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Maurer and Magnus Mortensen from Sweden, and
Mm-hmm.
afterward by Maxim Salnikov. He works for Microsoft Norway. So it's a book, and your copy is on the way.
Oh, I cannot, I really cannot wait. Once I get it, I'm gonna put it over here. And in my
Yes,
entire life, you will have it just the way you have that Cloud Summit award over there, right?
yeah,
And make sure that I have that book every time. So,
yeah.
Jonah, this book is around learning Microsoft Azure. And if you think Microsoft Azure is humongous, right? If you miss out for a month, then I would say, I mean, you have lost in touch, right? So there's a lot that goes in Microsoft Azure. So let me ask you, what really inspired you to write a book, and that too on Microsoft Azure and not any kind of niche? Like there are people who write book on just on SQL servers, like just on serverless, right? Why did you
Mm.
choose to write a book that was on Azure generally?
Yeah, great question. The reason why I wrote this book was actually due to my cloud migration experience for
Mm-hmm.
.NET. So remember, I told you I've been working as a consultant for a while since I moved to Sweden. I believe
Mm-hmm.
I'm on eighth or ninth year as an IT consultant.
Wow.
In one of my previous consulting projects, not in this company, I was involved in a cloud migration project, which was to migrate a .NET legacy application to Azure or to the cloud because of like unsupported and outdated web servers or virtual machines. But to make the long story short, without digging into details, which I sometimes speak on the conferences, is that that cloud migration journey that I had, which I led as a developer, as an architect, or someone that maintained the system, I had some challenges there in a way that we tried everything from lift and shift, refactoring the code, re architecting, and building the system as new, which actually succeeded in the end, did not make it to production. Not because I'm a bad developer, that not because I did succeed, and it's
Yeah.
because of the users or the IT organization that's supposed to drive it into production were not really confident about the benefits of the project. They kind of like
Wow.
regret it at the end. First, they want to move, and then later on, when
Mm-hmm.
it succeeded, didn't want to. And the reasons for that, they were not so confident about the cloud, what Azure could do.
Mm-hmm.
And they were concerned about security, about data on the cloud at that time, and they weren't like willing to add resources, financial resources. When you put something new in production, everyone needs to get onboarded with it, right? there should be
Mm-hmm.
a team in different sites. So to make it short, that's cloud migration project that ran almost a year in my consulting career had actually uh, enlightened me and inspired me to share what I learned and motivated me that, hey, there are organizations and projects out there that are being blocked to move to the cloud, their .NET applications, their on-prem applications, because they don't know what to do. They don't know
Yep.
where to start. So
Mm-hmm.
I had an idea. I wrote a book before. I just Googled O'Reilly because I love reading their books. Sent an email to contact us, and then
Mm-hmm.
I got the opportunity to write this book after I reached out to them. So it became a project, and it's a project that I've been doing for the last 2 years of my spare time and weekends outside my work.
Wow, Jonah, you inspired me, to be honest. The story that you just spoke about on how you went through your personal journey, the challenges that you had, you saw it right firsthand, and that inspired you to write a book. And you actually reached out to O'Reilly that, hey, I really want to write a book. I don't know how
Yeah,
many people would do it, but you
yeah,
are really making a difference, Jonah, out there. Oh my
yes.
goodness, I wasn't
It was a
expecting really.
brave move.
Yeah, it was a brave move. So how long it took you? I mean, I see it's a very thick book once you're holding it, right? How long
Yeah,
it took you to write it? Because you were, oh my goodness, like 500 pages or something.
yeah, it's almost actually the digital version is almost 500 pages,
Mm-hmm.
but since the text font size of O'Reilly's paperback format is a bit like smaller, not the
Okay.
normal 12 pixel, it's like 400 plus in the paper one. Ebook got
Mm-hmm.
480 something. So it took me almost a year, I mean, almost 2 years or over a year to do the project. O'Reilly gave their new writers a chance to do a project at least maximum 1 year, but they have been very kind and very flexible with me, a busy woman in tech, to do the project. But I did the project itself by myself with the help of the community.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started, I had to structure the book already through a book
Mm-hmm.
proposal. So from what chapters I need to write, that's already planned and laid out before I even started writing. So I
Mm-hmm.
learned the process of writing a book in so many ways with the help of O'Reilly team that was working close to me, but it's a journey itself. Like when you start writing chapter 1 and 2, it's time to give it to the technical reviewers. The technical
Mm-hmm.
reviewers leave feedback. And then
Okay.
the first time I received like feedback, input on my grammars, on my technical stuff that I wrote, I was actually challenged emotionally in a way that
Oh.
I learned the art of receiving feedback and take it as constructive input from the other technical reviewers. And I was also in the process that I was close to giving up because I was too busy. But
Yeah.
I realize every time I see I post on LinkedIn about my book project when it was still starting, and then people were like commenting, "We're really looking forward to this coming out," and that really inspired me to keep going. So it's the community and the people that contributed to the book actually inspired me as well to finish this project. So I credit it back to the community and the people around.
Wow, Jonah, I'm really I'm really excited now to go ahead and read that book. To have your all the hard work right in my hand. You're saying you spent about a year and a half writing that book and all the many feedback that you got. I can't
Yes,
wait to have that book and read it. You did mention briefly, Jonah, about the different chapters, right? I mean, you have many chapters. So,
yes.
would you like to mention some of the chapters that you have in the book, just so people get an idea?
Yes, yeah, sure. So the book, first of all, the book is for IT professionals, IT
Mm-hmm.
business leaders, developers, or even architect or even experts that wants
Mm-hmm.
to refresh their skills. And the book is 14 has 14 chapters, and it
Mm-hmm.
starts with cloud computing, the first chapter. Because if you're new in the cloud, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're new to Azure. The first thing you want to understand is the basic. What is cloud? What How
Yeah.
does it differ from on-prem or the traditional computers that we were used to when we were young? So after that, second chapter is about Azure fundamentals, and then the remaining of the chapters focuses on what's in the Azure cloud stack, and that
Mm-hmm.
includes what are the compute services in Azure, networking services, networking security, DevSecOps. What are the tools that developers can use and can utilize in terms of developer productivity on Azure when working with that? And then there's a focus chapter on IoT, AI,
Wow.
big data, as well as cloud migration. So I mentioned CAF, WAF, and
Mm-hmm.
all the certification tips at the end. So it's kind of like from the cloud computing, no knowledge at all about Azure, learn
Mm-hmm.
cloud to Azure until at the end of the chapter, I prepared it that, hey, here are the tools that you have: VS Code, Visual Studio, Azure. Here's what you can do to develop with cloud or with Azure.
Yeah, that's very nicely put up. So I get an idea that if I start reading this book and I don't have any knowledge about cloud or Azure, I can start reading this book,
Yeah.
and it's for if it's with no background, I can start in by and by the end of the book, right? I'll feel very confident. I can say I'm a cloud developer, right? I can write it in my resume. But one thing sometimes we really miss is the examples or the project, Jonah, right?
Mm.
So, in this book, are there any projects that you're making, or are there any examples that you'd give when you explain any of the topic? Anything around that?
Yes. So yeah, that's a great question. Yes, in the book, I did have, because when you're reading a book, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can be overloaded with lots of information. So in between the topics of the book, there are like tips and warnings, and at the end of each book, I did actually, I mean, each chapter, I did actually add the option to try it out yourself, which has links
Mm-hmm.
where they can do some hands on. It can be a Microsoft Learn Path or a recommended resource of a previous session in my user group or any other friends I know in the community or other courses.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some hands-on options as well. So there's a Q&A at the end of each
I
chapter.
like that.
It's gonna test your knowledge, and then at the end of the book you can go back and see if you have at least answered the book almost correct, because it should be a question that's not just yes or no. It should be something that will make you think and check your knowledge. What is it called, by the way? Because
Yeah.
in Azure there's a lot of terms.
Yeah, I really
But
like the part where you said you have question answers. I think
yeah,
I'll be very interested to reach that part of the chapter where now where my knowledge is tested. And I'm like, okay, out of 10 questions, I answered seven correct, but three went wrong. Now I'll again go back and read that particular section of that chapter. And hey, I need to reread it. So I think the
yeah,
self-evaluation of having this question after every chapter is a really nice thing. I'm glad
yes,
that you put it, and I know there's more effort again that goes. Having said that,
yeah.
Jonah, are you maintaining any GitHub or a website about this book where people can stay updated just in case you're bringing any second edition, third edition, any updates coming to the
Yes.
book?
Yeah, there's a on the O'Reilly website, which is the official online book site.
Mm-hmm.
The online book, this is like the paper format, first edition,
Mm-hmm.
but we cannot edit it like we do in a computer, right? So
Yeah.
the online version, which is in the O'Reilly's platform, it's gonna be like a living document
Mm-hmm.
where people or readers that read my book, the physical one or the online one, can leave their errata or like feedback or comments about, hey, you wrote this incorrectly, or this should be this and that. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a errata page for that, that will be an inspiration for the second edition, depending on how
Okay.
I deal it with O'Reilly. And then I also have a GitHub page that I don't have so much in there yet, because most of the resources or examples are in the book. I have code snippets in there,
Mm-hmm.
but I am planning to maintain it as well. So it's also given in the book itself, also where it should be found.
I really like when you said that people can give feedbacks and then you
Mm.
can read it. It's more like an open source book, isn't it?
Yes, yes. There's an errata. So right after I'm done with the book,
Mhm.
O'Reilly told me, "Hey, Jonah, this is the errata page. This is where you're gonna keep track of the feedback from your readers." So finishing
Wow.
a book and publishing it, the first edition, it's not the end of the journey. That's where the real journey of being a writer actually starts. Maybe the second phase, that's level two,
Yeah.
level two part of it. And then speaking of Q&A, I did actually created a Q&A, interactive Q&A, that it will be like quizzes on the O'Reilly's platform. It's
Mm-hmm.
not live yet, but the online book is gonna have like a quiz when they
Okay.
read the online version as well.
Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah.
I like this new concept. I think that changing people may have thought that hey, books are who reads book, but the way these publishers and your authors are working so hard, right,
Mm.
to make reading books so interactive with some projects, GitHub URLs, exercises. I really like this approach. I didn't knew that people do it in this way, so I'm
Yeah.
glad. Yeah, it's
Yes,
really
it's just
nice.
the part that you know right now, but the book process itself is a very structured and tedious process. So if you write
Mhm.
a book someday, let me know. I would be glad to mentor you.
I want to write a book now. I think I have a certification to clear. It's scheduled for January
Ah,
20th. It is around Azure IT Administrator. If I
oh,
can clear that, I've been working on it, and that's what I do when I
yes,
don't do these live shows. If I can clear that, then you know what, Jonah, you have inspired me enough to go ahead and reach out to O'Reilly. I think I would
yeah.
like to do that.
Yeah, you should do that. And then, as long as you have an idea that you want to
Hmm.
write about, and you're very passionate to share it out to the community,
Hmm.
then the project itself won't be tedious. Because what
Hmm.
really inspired me to keep going in spite of like spending too much hours writing this book, which I could have just laying in the sofa reading
Yeah.
reading other books. But I what really inspired me is the motivation that I told you, my cloud migration journey, that I really want others to learn, and also those that are beginners in Azure, because I really want to create like an inspiration to new in IT, that hey,
Hmm.
you don't need to be super expert in
Yeah.
.NET programming or cloud. You can start learning this overview of everything in the cloud and the .NET tools or development tools, and you still have this opportunity to learn and get the career that you want and choose the path that you're passionate about.
Wow, Jonah, wow. And I'm saying wow a lot of time because, this is so good. Hearing you is so good to ears. And
Yes,
I bet you've not only inspired me today, you have been inspiring many more people, especially the women in tech, as you say, right? You advocate for
yes,
it. So I'm
yeah.
really happy that I
Did you
had
see this
John.
one? I think last year, I the woman in tech, I won the developer of the year award.
Wow.
Yes,
How cool is that?
yes.
Oh
Remember
my
this
goodness.
one?
Yeah, I know that.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that
Right.
one. All right,
Yeah.
Jonah. So before we wrap it up, any final thing you want to add, apart from asking people to go ahead and read the book? And everyone who's watching, you can find the links in the description.
Yes, yes. I just yes, aside from like checking out my book, first of all, I
Hmm.
want to thank you, Simon, for having me here at in this episode, and also for those that listen to this live or recorded. Thank you so much, and to all my followers that been supporting me along the way in this journey. Thank you so much. And after you read my book, aside from reviewing it or sharing your feedback, feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have challenges or need advice about going through your career within Azure or cloud. So I am a busy woman, but I try my best to reach out and connect to the community and make a difference by passing the inspiration forward to others.
Yeah, I bet, Jonah, you're very helpful to the community. And thanks for everything that you do. And thanks for writing this book. I can't wait to read it. And if everyone's watching, you can find all the book description, all the book details in the description. And I encourage you all to go ahead and grab a copy of this book, Learning Microsoft Azure. I think it is for everyone. If you're getting started, if you're new, even if you're in college, then why not? This book is lovely. I cannot wait to read it. And thank you so much, Jonah, once again, for being
You're
on the
welcome.
show. We always enjoy you to have back. You're so inspiring. You're a friend. You're family. So
Yes, I'm
yeah,
very inspired to inspire you and others as well.
yeah.
So I'm
Well, at
very
least you did one today.
yes. I'm. You can hear in my voice that I'm very passionate about this topic that we're talking about. Go with the flow.
All right,
Yes.
Jonah. Thank you so much. I won't take much
Thank
of your
you.
time, and thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode of Dash.net. Until then, take good care of yourself and see you soon. Bye bye.